Hello once again, everyone. Keta Kosman, publisher of Madison's Lumber Reporter, coming to you from State of Emergency in southern British Columbia. I'm in Vancouver. I just did a big update in my previous video. Do take a look. Find out what the situation is right now, the fourth week of November, and do come back often to get updates. As soon as anything happens, I'll be the first to let you know about the important forest products and manufactured lumber coming out of the fiber basket here in British Columbia. But right now, what I'm going to do is U.S. housing starts, which just came out last week, and put that against my lumber prices. So why don't we go straight to the grass, because they do tell a really good story, really like when the year starts to come to an end and you can look back over year, this year compared to last year. We already know what happened in 2020, but now we can compare to October of 2021 and probably get some really good insight. And there are some tidbits that have been announced year to date and sort of surrounding the housing market in terms of like labor, finding land, all these kind of things. So I'll be letting you know about that as well. Okay, and this is the graph I do every month. So we have US total housing starts, the black line, and 1 unit single family starts, the gray line. The 3 colored lines are the benchmark 2x4 lumber prices: western spruce, eastern spruce, and southern pine. And we have total starts in the US relatively flat for October compared to September at 1.52 million units annualized. Permits were up 4%, rather unusual time of year. Means that if permits are up for October, means that the house will be started generally in December or January, which is strange, but we'll see what happens when those months come upon us. So total permits up 4% to 1.65 million. Interestingly, up 3.4% from October of 2020 when it was 1.041 million. Single family starts are down by 4% to 1.039 million. Single family permits also up 2.7% to 1.069 million. And so the indications are that there's a little bit of a slowdown, but it looks temporary. And permits tell us a lot, meaning future activity should be still quite strong. Okay, and so drilling down into the data a little bit more carefully, we have single family starts again, the black line, and then now single family permits, the gray line. You can see they're matched quite nicely. But if you look there in the past few months, the gray line is flattening out while the black line is going down just a little bit. And that would be normal for seasonal. We will find out in January and February what's actually going on there. Some very interesting data year to date to October of 2021. This is calculated slightly differently, but very interesting in that total housing permits are up 20% compared to last year to 1.439 million units. And single family permits are up 17.3% to 949,400 units. Okay, so that's January to October 2021 compared to the same time last year. Now, of course, because we know what happened last year, if you look, the increase just kept going and then popped right at the end of the year. And then, of course, during the winter months, slowed down a little bit. We might have the same thing next year, but we just don't know that yet. And this is the benchmark Western Spruce Pine Fir KD 2x4 number 2 and better. If you look at the blue line, which is this year, it's matching currently quite closely to last year, which is the yellow line. Okay, and so we have that price for the week of November 12th at US $620 per 1,000 board feet, which was flat compared to the week before, is up $11 or 2% compared to the month before, is up $30 or 5% compared to the previous year when it was $590, and is up $224 or 57% compared to 2 years ago, that's the red line, when it was $396. Now, Some of the data that came out has shown that material costs, which includes more than just lumber, includes plumbing, tiles, roofing, all that kind of stuff, this year is up 12.3% compared to 1 year ago. So I would say that these increases are here to stay. We're not going to return to the price levels of 2 years ago, the past 10 years when the US was underbuilt and lumber sales were slow. This table shows you the breakdown of those benchmark items that I keep talking about compared to the previous month. The market did equalize, and supply and demand were at some level normal. So customers were able to get the wood that they needed and started to order again as prices fell from those highs that we had at the end of the summer. Now, with the situation in British Columbia, which is starting to be rectified, but it's going to take a long time for all those goods to move, I'm going to guess that prices might pop a little bit before the end of this year. Okay, so as I said, there's some good, helpful information that's starting to come out now in terms of this year housing activity. One of the things that we do know is that material costs are up 12.5% compared to the first 10 months of 2020. This is not slowing down housing activity, so that should really tell you something. The other thing is that job openings are at a record rate, and land availability is at a record lack of supply, tight availability. Last week when I was doing some reading, I saw some very interesting things about sort of lending banks, or like sort of these financial folks that pool their money together. They are collaborating and bidding on parcels of land. So the where to build is going to be the big question in 2022. The determination to buy is not slowing down. The home sales and house price details are going to come out this week in a couple of days, and I'll be making another video again against my lumber prices to show what's up with that. Excuse me, but something really important, I did note it in my previous video on housing starts for September. Homes under construction not yet completed are at 1.45 million, which is the highest since 1974. So the momentum of construction, it's not a bubble and it's not going to burst soon. The strength of demand to buy a house, existing home sales came out today. It's up a lot, so when existing home sales are high, that puts pressure. People switch to new homes when they see the prices and they're like, well, sure, house prices are up, but I can get a new home for really not that much more when you think about it, right? So that's it for now. The activity for construction and the demand for building products, especially lumber, is generally starts to slow down at this time of year. But from the looks of things, that'll be temporary, just the curtailments and, the weather, people don't build when it's below freezing. But next year, January 2022 is going to start off as strong as this year did in January. So check back with us often. Subscribe here on my YouTube. Go on my website, madisonsreport.com. At the top along the menu is a subscribe link. You can actually get the newsletter, log into the dashboard, and get the full scope of the data, 450 individual lumber and panel commodity prices every Friday when it comes out, instead of waiting a month until I put just that little 7 items in the benchmark table that you can see. And also included in that is the commentary, which comes from my market analyst, explaining why are those prices changing. So things like inventory, log inventory, lumber inventory, order files, how long in advance are sawmills booked production. That always keeps the price up if it's long. the supply chain issues, which in BC is just totally broken right now, and other things, exchange rate, the duty coming back on. The duty's meant to be doubled. The announcement will be out on Wednesday, on November 24th, and meant to take effect November 30th. We'll see what happens there, given all these issues that we're in. But the administrative review was done in February. So these recent things wouldn't make a difference until next year, November, as the looming administrative review this February 2022 will probably take all this stuff into account. But I don't know, because we're in like completely uncharted territory for so many different things right now. Maybe there's a way that the US government can tell the USTR what to do. I'm not sure about that. Would be very interesting to see, but will certainly be unfolding over the next week and a half. So stay with us and find out first by checking with Madison's. We are always the first source for anything that changes with softwood lumber and prices and data.